Hello, Geminis, and welcome to this your June 1st through June 15th reading and predictions. This is a general reading intended for anybody born under the sign of Gemini, as well as others who have a significant amount of Gemini elsewhere in their charts. If you are returning, you will notice that I am still in the man cave, my cousin's man cave in Medicine Hat, Alberta. And I am also probably still wearing the same clothes that you saw me wearing last month. I'm frozen. I can't believe it is the end of May and I am still freezing here in the mornings. For those of you who are new here, a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. If at the end of this reading, this resonates with you, please give me a like and subscribe. And as well, if this resonates with you, if you feel drawn towards this style of readings that I do, by all means, reach out personally. I am available for private readings. Okay, Gemini, let's get started. First cards that we're going to pull are cards that let us know a little bit about where you are at now as I'm recording this reading here at the end of May with the intention of covering the time period of early to mid-June. All right, we've got a card here that's wobbling. Not sure if it's actually going to come out or not. Yep, there it goes. Actually, there's two of them there. Okay. Anything else for Gemini? Nope. Okay. All right, Gemini, let's move on to what you are focusing on at this time. Gemini, focus early to mid-June. Hard to believe that we are actually 6 months in to 2023 already. Oh, there's another card for you, Gemini. Okay. All right, the next card that we're going to pull for you, Gemini, is going to be cards of your difficult influences. What are you struggling with or bumping up against right now? One card out. Is there anything else for the Geminis? Anything else at this time? Nope, we just have the one card. That's a good sign, right, Gemini? All right, the next card that we're going to pull for you is a card that just makes sense. Now, for those of you who are new here, the card that just makes sense serves two purposes. One, either it helps to tie the rest of the reading together, particularly when we have a situation where there's just tons and tons of cards flipping out as I'm shuffling them, thus giving us the impression that there's a bunch of loose ends, and then the card that just makes sense oftentimes will have a meaning that just makes us go, right, okay, now this makes sense. The other purpose behind the card that just makes sense is sometimes the card that just makes sense has the absolute identical meaning to another card elsewhere in the reading, thus giving you that double reinforcement that you really need to sit up and pay attention to the energies and the meaning behind that particular card. Where are we going for this makes sense? This makes sense for Geminis. Early to mid-June 2023. There's one. Is there anything else? No, that's it. Oh, there's actually two cards there. All right. Next card is going to be unexpected. We're getting called over here. What is unexpected? One of these decks is going to be your final overall outcome. The other one is going to be unexpected. Let's narrow it down. Unexpected. Now I'm still getting both of them. Unexpected. There. Thank you, fairies. Okay. What is coming in that is unexpected for the Geminis? June 1st through the 15th. Unexpected. Is there anything else? Anything else you'd like to show the Geminis? Okay. There is actually one more card here that's sticking up. So we are going to grab that card and throw it into your reading. All right. And your final general overall outcome. Oh, I'm getting called in two different directions again. Final general overall outcome. Okay, I'm getting called over here, but I may be pulling a clarifier from the other deck here. Final general overall outcome for Gemini. Is there anything else for the general overall outcome for Gemini for mid-June? Yeah, there's one more there. Okay. All right. First card, second card, and third card. Let's just get that one there. Okay. Okay, Gemini, what do you have going on at this point in time? You have three cards that have come out for you. You've got the Seven of Wands, the Queen of Cups, and the Wheel of Fortune. The Seven of Wands is a card about having fallen into complacency at some point in time, but now you're at the point where you're ready to start to step forward. There was something holding you back, and most likely it was something that was probably more of a psychological obstacle than an actual physical obstacle. There was something in your mindset that said, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that today. No, I'm not going to do that tomorrow either. No, I'm just not moving ahead on this project right now. I know I should, but I'm not. And this 7 is indicating that you've come through that and you're ready to begin to do the work. If you look at the character on this card, he is starting to work, but he does have some work ahead of him because he's let things kind of fall by the wayside. You have the Queen of Cups. Now, oftentimes the Queen of Cups, when she comes in, represents us, meaning that we need to approach things and what's coming up in our life with a little bit more femininity, or that feminine energy, that softer, more emotional type energy, as opposed to when we have the kings or the emperors coming in, that's more of an intellectual or a mental energy, with less emotion involved in the decisions that we need to make. So the Queen of Cups is someone who listens well, makes decisions from her heart. So I get the sense that with this Seven of Wands, you were in a place of complacency. You were perhaps trapped in a cycle of procrastination for a period of time. And as you get ready to begin to move forward with the work that needs to be done, you're doing so with an open heart, with a little bit more emotion involved. You're putting your heart into what it is that you're doing. And the other thing is that you may have received some advice from someone with more feminine qualities, where they really put their heart into the advice that they were giving to you, Gemini. And that probably helped you to begin the work that you need to be doing at this time. You have the Wheel of Fortune here. The Wheel of Fortune is the number 10 card in the major arcana. And it's a card of you having opportunities out there. And here's the thing with the Wheel of Fortune, when it comes in, it's saying that you have equal opportunities to everybody else. And therefore, it's about the work or the complacency and procrastination that you put in. It's about the heart that you put into it and the emotions you put into it. So the way that I'm reading this for you, Gemini, is that you've reached this place where you're ready to get out and do some work. It may have been some feminine energies, someone coming in from the heart that has encouraged you in the right direction, thus giving you new opportunities with this Wheel of Fortune coming in. But you are reminded as well that everybody has equal opportunities, and it's about the amount of work that we put in. The amount of effort we put in is what we get out. You put, The saying that comes up is that saying from I can't remember if it was a 70s or an 80s advertising campaign. You are what you eat, you get out what you put in, put crap in, you get crap out. So really what I'm reading here with this is if you put procrastination and complacency in, then that's what you're going to get out. That's what the Wheel of Fortune is going to bring you. So the more efforts you can put into your endeavors at this time, Gemini, the better, because more of this Wheel of Fortune opportunity will come your way. You are focusing on, you are focusing on understanding things from a different perspective at this time. You have this understanding now that, and this is interesting. So the Seven of Wands was indicating that you were coming from a place of complacency, procrastination, but you're ready to start doing the work now, meaning that you've understood that the cage that you were in that was preventing you from going out and doing the work that you knew you needed to do, the cage that was keeping you in that state of complacency and procrastination was a cage of your own making. The door was always open. And when you reach that understanding, there is an opportunity for celebration to come in for you to move into the next phase. This card represents a phase, and it represents, because we all go through stages and phases. This card has 3 women on it representing the 3 stages or phases that a woman goes through in her life, from the maiden to the goddess to the crone. And so this card is about celebrating the different cycles that we have in our lives. And Gemini, you are moving into a new cycle, right? When you recognize that the cage door is open and you can leave anytime you want, but you have to put the work in, you can celebrate. The next card that you have and what you're focusing on is the number 20 card from the Major Arcana. This is the card that's called Beyond Illusion in this particular deck. And what does this card mean for us? This is a card of completion. This is a card of renewal. This is a card of looking at the past, taking the lessons that you've learned from the past that serve you going forward, and leaving the rest behind. So Gemini, when we read the tarot, the Major Arcana starts at 0, which is the Fool. It's about new beginnings. It's about stepping off a cliff with not having any knowledge. So take, for example, a city guy, a city boy moving out to a farm. That would be a fool move, okay? Not foolish, but according to the tarot, that would be a fool move, where he is stepping off into the unknown. He knows nothing about farming or anything else. And then the cards between that 0 card and moving up to the 21st card of the Major Arcana is about the cycles and phases that he would experience as he experiences the growth and learns new lessons going forward. As I mentioned, there's 21 cards in the Major Arcana. This is number 20. So this card for you at this time, Gemini, indicates that you are nearing the end of a phase or a cycle. And you're at that point of being able to look back at all of the lessons that you've learned from your Fool stage up until now. And you're able to grow from that. The next card is your card of difficult influence. Your card of difficult influences is the Moss, or adaptability. Does this make sense? Well, let me see. Are you struggling against being adaptable? I would say yes, you have been struggling against it because you were procrastinating and complacent. And oftentimes we are procrastinating and complacent because we're stepping into something new that we're not necessarily comfortable with. And so that causes us to go, whoa, and we put the brakes on things, right? But this is telling me that you are currently in the process of moving out of that. You're moving into this wheel of fortune. You're moving into this understanding and celebration. You are closing out a cycle or phase in your life. But that doesn't mean that you're not still bumping into adaptability from time to time, right? Because you were coming from a place that was your comfort zone and you're moving out of your comfort zone right now. And as you move out of your comfort zone, there is this difficulty in being adaptable. But here's the thing. The reason that this card has moss representing adaptability is that moss is one of the oldest living features on this planet, meaning it has had the ability to be able to adapt from the very first signs of life on this planet billions of years ago to where we are today. In fact, moss has adapted so much that there have been experiments and so on going on, that certain types of moss have altered themselves, their genetic makeup, to be able to absorb some of the toxins that we are now putting out into the earth and into the atmosphere that were never in existence prior. So moss is extremely adaptable. It's been around for a long time. So what this is telling me is that, Gemini, when you move into this new phase that you're moving into, this new cycle that you're moving into, it will be for the long term. There is a longevity there, an anticipated longevity. And the sooner you become more comfortable with that change, the more quickly you're going to be able to adapt. And that's going to make you feel a whole lot more comfortable in your life and in your own skin. Cards that just make sense. Interesting. Okay. As we go through the stages of moving from one cycle into the next, we create a duality for ourselves, right? We create this thing where we're like, okay, I want to move forward. Oh God, no, I don't. Okay, I want to move forward. No, I don't. And you have kind of double-edged sword meanings here in your cards that just make sense. You've got one card telling you to watch the clouds, which is all about being up in the air, being up in the unknown, being mystic, being very imaginative. And you've got a card here telling you to ground, go deep, and explore your roots. Which way do you want to go? Do you want to tap into the mystic and tap into what's out here in the ether and in the clouds? Or do you want to attach yourself to what's in the ground and stay very rooted in earthbound things? Well, Gemini, the reason this makes sense is because when you find the balance between these two, that's where the magic happens. The reality is that we have to pay attention to our imagination, pay attention to our thoughts. This is where creation comes from. But from creation, what do we have to do? We have to ground it in reality. You've created something amazing, and then you put the brakes on it and procrastinate it. But now you're being called to bring it into reality. Ground it, bring it into reality. It's a time for celebration. You've got a really, really deep understanding going on right now, Gemini, of the ways of the world. I'm really sensing, Gemini, that I'm going to back up. We've moved out of the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius. Some of the zodiac signs are experiencing extreme, and I'm talking extreme, turmoil over this change and shift. Others are managing it extremely well. And others are creating this duality for themselves where they want to hold on to the past, but they also want to move into the future. And Gemini, what I'm sensing here is that you have a really, really good grasp on what's happening in the changing energies and how you fit into that. And as you adapt to that and maintain control, of your deeper understanding of what's going on and how you can adapt your life to be able to fit into the new realities so that you can maintain a comfortable living standard, so that you and your family can maintain close relationships, so that you and your partners, however you see that, can maintain these close familial or close personal friendships and so on. Everything is changing right now. The dynamics are all changing. All the cogs in the wheel that had kind of fit together and had caused us to be very comfortable in our lives have come apart, and they're changing and shifting. And it's a question of trying to figure out how they're going to fit back together, Gemini. And I get the sense that you have a really good idea on that. You have a balanced way of looking at things, but you also have a tendency to want to step back and keep yourself caged or keep yourself a little bit complacent because there's still some fear coming up there. I think that ultimately you are coming to the end of that fear with this Beyond Illusion card. You're seeing beyond things that others are not seeing. And you're at this time of renewal. Let's have a look at your unexpected influence cards. Unexpected. It's not really unexpected, Gemini. You have the number 20 card coming up, the number 20 of the major arcana. This is the card of renewal. This is the same identical meaning as this card. It's just from a different deck. Now, this card was sitting face down. I had no idea that this card was part of your reading until I actually turned it over just now. Talk about a double reinforcement. I'm just going to read what it says on this card because I can't say it better than this. Review the past and the present so you can plan a bright future. You're closing off a cycle right now, Gemini. So this card coming up in your unexpected influences, it's not really that unexpected, right? We were expecting to see something like this. You have the Justice card coming in. What does the Justice card tell us to do? Review the details very closely. Make sure that what you are letting go of, you are intended to let go of, and you're not just letting go of it because it's uncomfortable. I sense that for some of you, there's certain aspects of what's coming in that's uncomfortable, and so you're going, I reject that. Dig a little bit deeper. See where you're at. The Justice card also calls upon us to make sure that our decisions are being made in a fair manner. It calls upon us to look at both sides of a story. You'll see here on this card, these two fairies, and they're watching this sword come down. Do you remember the story of Arthur? I think it was King Arthur. And Excalibur, the sword. I may have my stories mixed up here, but there was a sword that was in a stone. And it was said that only those pure of heart would be able to remove the sword from the stone. And many, many, many people stepped up and tried to pull that sword from the stone. This is the story that comes up for me in relation to this card for you right now, Gemini, that you are being called upon to be pure of heart, to make sure that you are making balanced, justified decisions. Make sure you have all of the information before you make judgments. Speaking of judgments, this card, the number 20 card in the major arcana in the traditional tarot, is the Judgment card. Just thought I'd point that out because it's unexpected. And we are reading your cards of unexpected right now, Gemini. Okay. You also have the Prince of Autumn here. Prince of Autumn is pay attention to the details. Oh, wait. Don't you have another card in unexpected telling you to pay attention to the details? Yeah, you do. You have the Justice card right next to the Prince of Autumn or the Prince of Pentacles. Pretty important at this time. As you go through this change and this shift in cycles, Gemini, pay attention to the details. Really, really important at this time. Okay. You have the Ace of Pentacles, new beginnings, particularly pertaining specifically to money and career. Beautiful card for you to end off this reading with. It is a card of positivity. It's a card of financial security. You are creating this. By stepping into this new cycle, Gemini, you are stepping into and creating a new and better world for yourself, your family, your friends, those who are around you. Definitely new beginning here. But when we have a new beginning, the Four of Swords comes in sometimes. And the Four of Swords is about stepping back and making sure that we're making the right decision, paying attention to the details, taking that time to step back, take a rest. Do these two. Ground yourself, watch the clouds, take a step back. It's not all about being super, super active. And then the final card in your reading is the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands actually has two meanings. One of the meanings is that you are in that place of recovery. You're in that place of realizing that you've woken up from this cycle. You're ready to begin to move forward. But the Nine of Wands also is a card of caution. It's a card of making sure that you are taking your steps forward after having done your due diligence, as indicated by these two cards. Okay. So by the middle of June, I am predicting, Gemini, that you will be very much at the beginning of a new cycle. You will have judged what serves your highest good, what no longer serves your highest good. You will have rejected certain things, left them in the past. You will be in the process of moving very much forward, understanding that there needs to be checks and balances put in place. Also, understanding that you need to create balance between spending too much time in the airy-fairy versus spending too much time being grounded. You will be in a place where you are recovering from the shock and the shift that's happening in your life right now. And you're definitely going to be in a new place, new beginning. And there's much to celebrate. Okay. Thank you so much for being here, Gemini. I hope that you'll join me again in the middle of June for your next reading.